Imagine your government sending soldiers to go and fight some bird with machine guns. It sounds like a joke, but it really happened. In 1932, Australia sent soldiers to go deal with thousands of large birds called emus. But why did the country send soldiers to go fight birds? To understand what happened, we need to go back to early 1930s. Australia had many farmers who depend on their crops for food and money. One important farming area was in Western Australia. Farmers there grew crops such as wheat. But they had a very serious problem. Large numbers of emus were moving into their farm areas. Emus are large birds that cannot fly. They can grow almost 2 meters tall. They are always very fast runners. In 1932, a large group of emus moved into a farmland. The birds were looking for food and water. Unfortunately to the farmer, their feed has plenty food. The emus begin to eat food. They also damage some. This was a serious problem for farmers who were already struggling because of difficult economy then. The farmers asked Australian government for help. The government agreed to send soldiers, but they were not an ordinary soldier walking around with small weapons. The government sent men who had experience with machine guns. They also had machine guns mounted on their trucks. The first operation began in November 1932. The soldiers found a large group of emus. They prepared their machine guns. The birds were gathering together, and this looked like a perfect opportunity for the soldiers to open fire. But the emus did something the soldiers did not expect. The emus ran, and they ran very quickly. The birds scattered in different directions. Instead of staying together, they split into small groups, and this made it difficult for the soldiers to hit them. The soldiers tried to get them again, but the emus continued to escape. This operation became much harder than it expected. The soldiers continued trying to control this emus problem, but their movements were limited because their truck had a problem moving through the farmland. The operation became frustrating. After several days, the soldiers had not solved the problem. The government eventually stopped the operation, but the story did not end there. The emus problem continued. The farmers are still complaining that the birds are still damaging their crops, so the government decided to send the soldiers back. The second operation began. This time, the soldiers tried a different method. They searched for the small group of the emus. They tried to get closer before firing. They also used their machine guns for different operations, but the emus continued to prove difficult to control. Eventually, the military operation was ended. The government later decided that other methods could be used. Farmers were given support and efforts were made to protect crops and improve fencing. But there were a serious problem behind this funny story. The farmers were losing their crops and they needed help. And the government believed that using soldiers were one of the possible solutions. And their operation simply did not work as they planned. This story teaches us something important about nature. Humans can have powerful weapons and machines, but that does not mean that nature will always behave the way you expect. It also shows how government can sometimes choose a solution that looks simple but does not work in reality. This is a lesson about problem solving. Before you choose a solution, you need to understand the problem. You need to understand the environment. You need to understand how the other side would react. And sometimes the solution that looks stronger is not the best solution. So tell me, if you were a leader of Australia in 1932, would you have sent soldiers to go and deal with the emus, or would you have chosen another solution?